Welcome back to the Blue Chip Breakdown, Vols fans. It's day 3 of fall camp, and we're in shells. We've got a couple more days of this until we go to full pads. That'll be next week. But a couple things to note is that today, Coach Tim Banks was working with the cornerbacks instead of Coach Martinez, who usually works with them. And Coach Martinez is working with the safeties. What that tells me is that there's a heightened sense of urgency to get that cornerback group right. And we've got a lot of depth there. But it does seem like, they're just trying to get it narrowed down to who the starters will be. And as of right now, it does look like Slaughter will be one of them. Coach Banks was working with him one-on-one. I saw that in some of the notes. So that definitely means that he's a guy that they are looking to slide into one of those starting positions. And we just have to figure out who the other one is going to be. Like I said, I think that a lot of those cornerbacks will probably get some good playing time. There's big Khalifa Keith, looking really, really good. He's got a great burst for such a big back. And he actually trimmed down to 225. I think he probably was playing at about 235 in high school. But, he looks like he's a lot faster and looks like he's going to be in much better shape. So that's good. But anyway, I just wanted to get those notes out about the secondary. Obviously, that's a really big portion of this team. But we got to hear from the linebackers today. Linebackers and a couple of the defensive linemen. And, they were all just pretty much talking about how much depth that they have and, just how much better that room looks than it did last season. We got to hear from Arion Carter, and, he's pretty much saying that he's willing to do whatever he needs to get out on that football field. And Coach BJ also spoke, and Arion kind of echoed the same thoughts. And that, Arion's one of those players. He's such a great athlete that he can be wrong. So, he can be wrong and he can still end up making a play. And Coach, Arion said himself, he was like, there was a play when I was blitzing and I hit the wrong gap, but I was still able to make that tackle. So, that's a sign of great things to come. Once he figures out exactly what he's supposed to be doing, we talk about this almost every single practice, but he's going to be really, really special. He could go down as one of the all-time Tennessee greats, at linebacker and on defense. So looking forward to that. Right here, we've got the running backs working. Jalen Wright looks really, really good. Really, all of them look good. That's a very deep room right there. And then here is Khalifa Keith. See how strong his legs are. He's just noticeably a lot thicker than the other backs. And I think he's about 6 feet tall too, like 6'1". So that's that downhill guy. That's that short yardage guy that we've been looking for. We got Arion Carter and Jeremiah Thielander getting into some run fits right here. Just that entire group. Everybody everywhere. Look at Big Herring. Very, very, explosive. And I'm not sure who this coach is right here with this white shirt on. If somebody knows, leave that down in the comment section. He's doing a great job, man. Look at this. He's coaching them up. Great. Nice job. So right here, we've got, this is from the Rocky Top Report, I believe. And they're actually starting to put players' names and jersey numbers on their footage. So that's great. That definitely saves me a ton of work having to do that. But I'm happy to see that. There's Jalen Smith. I think he's another one. We haven't talked much about him, haven't heard much about him. This is our first time seeing him. But he looks like he's noticeably thicker. And he's a much faster guy. So, he's a guy that he could be playing around. Whenever we was looking at his film, we said, hey, he could be about 220, 225, 4'4", sub 4'4" guy whenever it's all said and done. So he really brings a different dynamic to that group with even more speed. I think he's going to be great in coverage, but to me, it seems like he's a little bit more of a pass rushing linebacker. I feel the same thing about Jeremiah Thielander, and I would love to see them dial up some packages with him coming off of the edge, because especially with him gaining as much weight as he did, from spring to fall camp, he could definitely give us an extra boost getting after that quarterback, and we're going to need that, obviously, throughout this season. That's a very critical part of this team. Now, we spoke yesterday a little bit just about watching other teams' practices. I watched some of Alabama, and it's night and day from what I saw with Florida's practice. Alabama looks really good. I know that there's a lot of questions surrounding their quarterback room, but you always have to know that with Nick Saban, they're going to be ready. They're coming off of a 2-loss season last year, so I would expect that is our absolute toughest game We have to go to Tuscaloosa. So that's one for sure to keep a close eye on. But, one of the good things is, I never pick us to lose unless it's just completely one-sided. I still think that we have a really good shot to be able to go down there and get that win, just because, I think that we are a much better team on paper this season, and our offense is still going to do what it does. And Coach Heupel, he's just a mastermind, and he always gets up for those really big games. So I know that we'll come in with a great game plan, but if for any reason we do happen to fall in that game, if we still win out, we still go to the SEC East and we get to see them one more time. So that, that's the time that you probably would rather win. Obviously, you never want to look at it that way and say, well, we can lose here and make up for it later. You want to win all of them, but I think sometimes it's better to win a little bit later in the season going into playoffs. So that's where I'm at, guys. Personally, that's how I feel about this team. It's, I wouldn't call it playoff or bust, but my expectations are definitely playoff every single year from this point forward. We've got a ton of talent, and just looking at these guys now, big, strong guys, and look at how explosive, look at how quick they are. Good feet. It's just night and day. So right here, these are the DBs going through some weaving drills, and they look good. I mean, they've always looked really good in drills. I really want this guy right here to step up. I think that he could really give us a lot. He looks a lot smoother than he did on day one. And right here, we've got Haddon. They are working on, looks like some press man and some switching drills right here in twins, in tight, tight bunch twins. And I mean, look at that jab right there, boy. One-Eye Jack. That's my dog right there, man. I really, really love that kid. But I mean, you can look at the little, just how they're paying attention to small details. Some of you may not be able to notice this, but you look at their footwork, you look at the hand placement, I just feel like they are really, really dialed in, especially that underclassmen group. And I know that they're pushing those seniors and those upperclassmen to get themselves on track or to play at a much higher click and at a higher level than what we did last season. Christian Conyer, he's looking really good. He's a really long guy, but look at this right here. I love how physical he is. I mean, he's a, prototype squat corner, but I think that he's probably going to be getting better playing man as well. Ricky Gibson, this is a guy that I was really high on as well. So, again, we've got a ton of talent over there. It's just all in who's going to be the most consistent when it counts. And right there, we actually saw them switch. And I love to see us doing that. I've seen a lot of, college, high school, and even pro teams not switching in those situations. If number 2 goes flat before 5, it just makes sense for the cornerback to get them automatically because the safety is just too far away to be able to stay engaged in man coverage from there. Now, right here, we've got the offensive line. Sounds like the same offensive line was starting as what we heard earlier in the week. And what that was Campbell at left tackle, Ollie Lane playing left guard. Obviously, Cooper Mays playing center, Spraggs playing right guard, and Crawford playing at the right tackle. So it's looking like that's probably going to be our starting offensive line. One of my questions too, not that this would even be necessary, but I am kind of wondering, what if we slid Mincy in at that left guard position? I'm curious if that's a position that he would be comfortable playing. And again, it's not that we necessarily need it. I think that we're pretty deep at both guard positions, so probably don't need that. But I just think maybe that could give us just a little bit more if we were able to somehow do that. Deshaun Bishop is a guy we're just now kind of seeing him. Haven't seen him all week. And Khalifa Keith is like he's kind of struggling right here. We've got to get his core a little bit stronger, get his legs a little bit stronger, or maybe he just needs to. Maybe he wasn't doing that drill the way that he was supposed to. But whenever you watch these other guys going through it, you see they don't like they're struggling nearly as much. And they are significantly lighter than he is. I think that Jalen Wright's probably about 215 pounds. So he's about 10, 15 pounds lighter than Khalifa Keith. But guys, that is it for this video, man. Super, super excited, super pumped about this season. And I can't wait, man, till we go full go next week. But we've got another day before that. Tomorrow, Saturday, we will be practicing again. So we'll be back. And we've got Sunday off. So We will see y'all tomorrow, and then I believe Monday we're going to be full go. Hopefully we'll get to see these guys clapping it up some. Appreciate y'all as always for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, share it with your friends, share it with your family, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks. Peace.